fashion any day. So I'll definitely
Oh
pay a
yeah.
little bit more.
Yeah, the whole
And
fast fashion thing is
yeah, that's gross.
it's kind of a underrated or like under like noticed problem that
Hmm.
is happening in especially the United States where fashion cycles kind of happen rapidly, and
Hmm.
so being being conscientious of that is actually I think a pretty key factor in being environmentally conscious, where you can realize like, yeah, this is just fast fashion. It's not built to last. Like, yeah, I'm all on board on the quality versus quantity thing because people kind of go through t-shirts and like pants and all that stuff so quickly, and just after they're done with it,
They
it's
just throw
just
it out.
yeah. And my dad is he's a big thrifter. He was, where we would go to this thing called Bargain Barn, which was like, it
Hmm.
was the thrift store after the thrift store. When stuff wouldn't sell
Oh
in the
wow.
thrift store, they'd give it to Bargain Barn, and like they were the last step before these clothes got incinerated. And
Oh
so
wow.
it was like this every day, it was like this Black Friday-esque thing where the gates would open at like 7 in the morning or something. People would be lined up, and like you would just rush towards these like giant like bins,
Oh,
huge bins
I've
full
seen
of
that
clothes.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was actually kind of fun because you'd like go there and like you'd be like going through all these clothes, and then you'd find something that was just like a gem. You're like,
Hmm.
this is it. And like it was the cheapest thing. It was like 10 cents for like
You
a
buy it for a
shirt or
pound,
something.
right? Or
Yeah, so you'd have a bag, and like you'd throw it all in a bag, and pretty much everything you could fit in that bag was like $5 or something.
yeah.
So, and then like there was like bigger stuff out in the yard area, and like you'd
Hmm.
go and be like, "How much is that?" And like this Jamaican guy would come up and be like, "Oh, that's like $10, man." And then you're like, "All right, cool."
You would have
And
to
like you
bargain
get
down a
this
little
like,
bit more though.
yeah, I know, right? Like it'd just be like you'd have like a bookshelf that's like a pretty nice bookshelf, and you'd just be like, "Yeah, it's $5. Take it." You're like, "Cool."
Yeah. I don't know. People just don't value their things. That's something that I don't really understand. Like, it's still fine, but they just want the newest thing. Like their phone, they always want the newest
Oh yeah.
iPhone, and it's still perfectly good. iPhone 5. My dad still has an iPhone 5. Still works perfectly fine. Still gets calls and messages and all that
Hmm.
stuff, and people just want to keep upgrading.
Oh, totally. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of that with my latest phone, but my phone before wasn't taking calls. It was just like, but I think, dude, conspiracy theory time. Like, we're turning this into conspiracy theory podcast. I swear it's as like Apple does that stuff where you update something and it just like purposely breaks your phone, so you have to get a new phone because
Yeah.
that like phone was working great, had no issues with it, and then all of a sudden it's just like, hello, can anyone hear me? Like nothing. And so I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm suspicious of that for sure. But planned obsolescence is a total
Yeah.
thing. So I'm not. I wouldn't put it past some of these bigger corporations to do that.
Yeah, that's actually a thing. We learned that in marketing. It's a
Yeah,
terrible way of
yeah.
doing business, though, but that's how they get their profits up.
Oh, totally. And like, I mean, Apple was like found guilty of that not too recently, wasn't it?
Hmm.
Like they got put in court, but yeah. So just lowers that trust level as it just keeps going down. But yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. I've just been I'm like super picky. I don't want to be like. It sounds like really terrible that I'm like a really really picky shopper, and it's kind of annoying if you ever go shopping with me. You're like, what's the carbon footprint of that? Like how far has this bottle traveled from this place to this place? It's just not fun. Like I don't know.
Hmm.
You think too hard for for everything. You're like, is that a local company? I'll support it if it's a local company. If it's a big corporation, then I'll look elsewhere. So
Totally. I mean, but once you find that perfect product, you're
oh
like
yeah, for
your
life.
conscience is clean.
Yeah. Or
Yeah, I'm definitely in the same boat on that too. I try to
yeah.
buy as local as possible. support those businesses, even if it costs a little bit much. And I'm broke as shit too. So I feel like if other people, or if I can do it, then other people can definitely do it too. So
yeah, I don't know. Some people just think different. It's kind of hard for people to like think that way, because I saw these people earlier when I was just driving, and this lady, she just threw like a bottle out the window, and I was just so disgusted. I was like, oh.
Dude, literally, like anyone that litters is
so bad.
Dude, that's my biggest pet peeve. Like trash on the beach especially is like just infuriating. As a lifeguard, like for state parks where I was on the beach a lot, I saw like some of the most heinous stuff that I'd ever seen, and kind of really like what got me more into ocean conservation too was, I'd see people like throw trash like straight into the ocean. I was one time working a beach, and this big family had this massive like dinner, and like we're barbecuing on the beach, and they had styrofoam cups and like plastic cups and all this stuff. And like I'm sitting there, and they're like, a decent ways away where I can't really like run to them or yell at them. But I'm sitting there watching the water, making sure everyone's safe. And then I see this family getting ready to like leave. I'm like, okay, they're gonna like pick up all their trash. And then I look away, and I go and I scan back. And then when I look back at them, I just see them all running away, and they just leave this mountain of trash. And they literally would rather run off the beach than pick up their trash and put it in the trash can, which was right up where they were like parked. And it was infuriating. And my supervisor was driving up, and he came and parked, and he's like, dude, what is going on here? What happened? I'm like, dude, they literally just ran out. Like, rather than pick up their trash and put it in the trash can, which is not that, like, they were so lazy that they just didn't do it. And so now, like, I mean, even before that, every time I'm like on the beach, either like getting out from a surf session or just like walking my dog on the beach, I pick up as much trash as I can all the way back, because that's the last line, dude. Once it's on the beach, like anytime it rains or anytime there's a big swell or the tide goes up, that stuff's going straight into the ocean, and it's
going to break down smaller and smaller.
Yeah, so
it's hard. Oh, I when we had to start fires for I had cooking classes in Timor, because that was like one of my hobbies. Oh, you never ate at my restaurant, did you?
Dude, no, I wanted to so bad. I always, like, one of my biggest regrets is never going to your restaurant.
In my
Because you'd always be like, dude, come by, have some food. I'm like, that sounds super sick, but I just never did it.
Yeah, it was fun, man. I had a good time. I had but some of my cooking classes in Timor, like they prefer to start fires with like ramen bags, and I'm like, no, you can't do that. Everybody's gonna get cancer. And I told them that, and it got like mistranslated somehow. And I think they called like my Peace Corps supervisor saying like, yeah, apparently we're gonna get cancer now, because I freaked out, because I'm not used to it. And,
dude, no, that's a legit thing. Like,
yeah.
Like, firefighters are getting cancer all the time because all the plastic and stuff that they have to like breathe in, essentially, like during a fire, or like when people's houses burn down, it just is a huge carcinogen. So like, no, you did those people a favor, because they were probably like,
I was like, no, we can't do
that stuff like it was nobody's business. Yeah,
but they have a reason for it, because when you burn like paper, it just gets ash everywhere, and they didn't really like that. And I was like, it's still better, just burn the paper. But they would still go to the plastic, because it just burned way more efficiently, and that's not that good. So that was a challenge that I had to overcome over there. But
that's interesting. So what kind of work were you doing specifically when you were over there?
I was doing the same thing as Benji, so I was teaching English. I was working with the radio station, actually. I was teaching them math. We were trying to do we had like one podcast that we were trying to start, because they were like, yeah, podcast guy goes to radio station. It makes sense. But I was like, okay, like we had one show for like lunch, but it was like 2 minutes. I'm like, that's not really a show.
Yeah.
So
it's like a commercial.
Yeah. I was like, okay. And then we kind of just I started teaching them math in Excel, because they were like, what can we do to like build capacity? And they were like, we want to learn Excel because we deal with it all the time. And yeah, so I taught math there. That's pretty hard. So English, math, and cooking classes were fun.
I bet.
I made pizzas. Yeah. I mean, dude, we made like the best chicken sandwich out there. I taught them how to like butcher a chicken like correctly into like 8 different pieces. So
who's a better cook, you or Simon?
Simon. Simon's such a good cook.
Simon's a great cook.
He's such a good cook.
His kimchi is out of this world. Every time.
And his beans.
Oh no! Also, did you ever have popcorn? His
popcorn is
so fun. We were watching Point Break for like the 6th time out there, and he's like, "Dude, let me make you some popcorn." And he made this popcorn with like
nutritional yeast,
and like just all this like other just weird spices that I had no idea, and I asked him what it was, and he just listed off all these spices. I was just like, dude, I'm never gonna remember this, but it was the best popcorn ever.
It's so good. Oh no, just even like his beans, he would just be. I would ask him like, how'd you make these beans, man? And he's like, I just put salt. I'm like, you make the best like baked beans I've ever had.
Yeah, dude. No, Simon was
Simon's good cook.
A sick cook. Yeah.
But I definitely
cool, man. Well, this has been super fun, but I definitely have to get going.
Good catching up, man.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah. Feel free to call anytime too, man. All right.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.